Every face tells a story. Every tone carries emotion. Every silence hides a truth. Social intelligence is the power to read those invisible signals, to understand people without them having to explain. It's not manipulation, it's awareness. It's emotional clarity that builds trust, influence, and connection. This book will teach you how to see beyond words, how to sense energy, and how to understand human behavior like never before. Stay with me till the end, and make sure to subscribe, because your journey to reading people like a book starts now. Chapter 1. The Science of Social Awareness. Every interaction you have leaves an emotional footprint. Some people notice it, most don't. Social awareness begins when you start noticing. It's the ability to see beyond words, to recognize the emotion behind expression, the truth behind tone, the meaning behind silence. Every human being sends signals. Their eyes, gestures, posture, and rhythm all speak. They communicate constantly, even when they say nothing. The science of social awareness is not just psychology. It's human connection turned into skill. It's learning how emotions move, from one person to another, from one space to the next. In every conversation, energy is exchanged. Your presence affects others, and their presence shapes you. It's invisible, but powerful. Socially intelligent people understand this invisible exchange. They sense tension before it's spoken. They detect sincerity before it's proven. They feel dishonesty before it's confessed. They read people like a language. Subtle, quiet, emotional, real. This ability is not a gift. It's a trained sensitivity. It grows with observation. It sharpens through empathy. It matures through self-awareness. To master social awareness, you must first understand yourself. If you can't recognize your own emotions, you'll misread everyone else's. When you're anxious, you see anxiety in others. When you're angry, you assume hostility. When you're calm, you see people as they truly are. That's why social intelligence always begins with inner balance. It's like tuning your own instrument before joining the orchestra. Science calls it emotional resonance. Your brain is wired with mirror neurons, tiny cells that react to the emotions of others. When someone smiles, your brain releases tiny signals of joy. When someone cries, your empathy circuits activate. That's why moods spread in rooms. One person's frustration infects a team. One person's calm restores it. This is the unseen chemistry of human connection. Social awareness is the conscious use of that chemistry. It's understanding that emotions are contagious and choosing to become a positive carrier. In leadership, it's everything. A manager who feels tension but stays calm stabilizes everyone. A leader who reacts impulsively creates fear and chaos. Science shows that people don't follow instructions. They follow emotions. That's why influence is emotional before it's logical. The person who understands the emotional tone of the room always has the advantage. Socially aware communicators listen differently. They listen not just to words, but to rhythm. They notice pauses. They sense hesitation. They feel energy shift. They know when to speak and when to stay silent. Timing becomes their weapon. Tone becomes their wisdom. They can walk into a meeting and instantly feel whether the team is inspired or drained, motivated or fearful. This awareness allows them to adapt. They don't speak the same way to everyone. They shift naturally, matching energy without losing authenticity. That's what makes people trust them. They feel understood, not studied, not analyzed, but truly seen. You can't fake this skill. People can feel intention before they hear information. Social awareness requires presence. You can't read people if you're trapped in your head. You have to slow down, watch, listen. The moment you start observing without judgment, you start understanding. Small things reveal big truths. The way someone exhales before answering, the glance they give when nervous, the tone they use when they say it's fine. Social awareness is detail in motion. It's reading what others miss. Every environment has its rhythm. Offices, cafes, home. You can feel when the atmosphere shifts, when comfort turns to tension, when excitement turns to unease. That's awareness working silently within you. You don't need words to understand people. You just need attention. In a distracted world, attention is rare, and that's what makes awareness powerful. To read people like a book, you must first care enough to look, really look. The truth is always there, written in the eyes, heard in the tone, felt in the space between words. Social awareness doesn't make you judgmental. It makes you compassionate. When you understand what drives people, you stop reacting to their behavior and start recognizing their emotion. You see anger as pain, arrogance as insecurity, silence as exhaustion. That's when you stop taking things personally, and that's when you truly begin to connect. People aren't hard to understand. They just need to be noticed. When you walk through life with this awareness, you start seeing patterns everywhere, not to manipulate, but to understand humanity at its core. You become grounded, steady, and wise. You stop being confused by people. You start guiding them. That's the science of social awareness. Not a theory, but a way of being. It's the bridge between what people say and what they truly mean. And once you master it, you stop reacting to the world. You start responding to it. Chapter 2. Understanding human emotion. Every decision is driven by feeling first, logic later. Every action begins with emotion. But emotion quietly moves every thought, every choice, every word. Understanding human emotion is understanding human nature. People like to believe they are rational, because beneath all titles, roles, and appearances, emotion is not weakness. We are emotional beings trying to make sense of the world. Its language, anger, fear, love, joy, guilt. It speaks before logic does. The tone of their voice. Each one tells a story about what matters most to a person. To read people, you must learn to read emotion. Emotion hides in those details. The rhythm of their breathing, the speed of their words. A calm tone says trust. A fast tone says fear. A long silence says confusion. Emotions are energy in motion. They travel from one person to another like invisible waves. That's why one anxious person can shake a whole room. Emotions are contagious. And one calm person can bring everyone back down. And awareness is the only cure. What triggers you? What softens you? To understand others, start with awareness of your own emotions. What shuts you down? The more clearly you understand yourself, the more accurately you can understand others. Emotional intelligence begins when you stop judging your feelings. You can't recognize anger in someone else if you're still denying your own, and start observing them. Fear protects. Every emotion has purpose. Joy connects. Anger defends. Sadness heals. The goal is not to erase emotion. When someone raises their voice, it's to interpret it. You can choose to react or to read. Maybe it's not aggression. Maybe it's pain. Maybe that silence isn't disrespect. The more you look beneath behavior, maybe it's exhaustion. Instead of defending, the more you understand the emotion driving it. That understanding changes how you respond. Instead of judging, you empathize, you support, and that's how communication becomes connection. People are emotional storytellers. Their words describe what they think. Their emotions reveal what they believe. If you listen carefully, you'll hear truth hiding inside tone. Logic convinces minds. Emotion moves hearts. You can't inspire without emotion. You can't lead without emotion. You can't connect without emotion. That's why emotional understanding is the foundation of influence. Every great communicator senses the emotional rhythm of others. When to pause. They know when to push, when to speak softly. They can feel when energy rises and when it falls. It's not magic, it's mindfulness. The more present you are, when you're distracted, the more emotions reveal themselves. When you're centered, If you miss the signals, you see everything. Emotion is like water. It always seeks flow. If you block it, it finds another way. That's why people who suppress emotion, awareness allows release before reaction, often explode later. At work, emotions hide behind professionalism. It allows control before chaos, but they never disappear. Stress, ambition, insecurity. They all live quietly in meetings, in emails, in silence. They adapt without confrontation. A socially intelligent person senses those undercurrents. They guide the mood of the room, to sense without taking things personally. That's emotional maturity. They're about themselves. Because most of the time, people's reactions aren't about you. You stop absorbing other people's energy. When you understand this, you stay calm even when others can't. You become the stable center in an emotional storm. Emotions drive behavior. If you want to change behavior, correction without compassion creates resistance. You must understand the emotion behind it. Understanding creates change. They respond to how you make them feel. People don't respond to what you say. And when your communication carries empathy and balance, even hard truths become easier to hear. You must stop labeling emotions as good or bad. To master social intelligence, every emotion is information. Anger says something feels unfair. Fear says something feels unsafe. Joy says something feels right. Each message deserves attention, not suppression. When you understand emotion deeply, you see what's coming before it happens. You start predicting behavior accurately. You sense tension before it speaks. You prevent conflict before it explodes. That's how emotional awareness turns into emotional power. Understanding human emotion doesn't just change how you see others. It changes how you live. You become patient, and slowly, you respond to life instead of reacting to it. You become grounded. You start creating harmony in every space you enter. Because once you understand emotion, you understand people. And once you understand people, you understand everything. Chapter 3. Reading Body Language. Words can lie, but the body never does. Every movement speaks. Every gesture carries emotion. Every posture tells a story. Reading body language is not about guessing. It's about observing. It's the art of seeing what people show without saying. When someone talks, their words may say one thing, but their body will often reveal the truth. The science behind body language is simple. The body reacts before the mind can control it. When people feel confident, they expand. When they feel afraid, they shrink. When they feel relaxed, they open up. When they feel guarded, they close in. These small shifts say more than paragraphs ever could. Posture is the first signal. A straight spine and relaxed shoulders show confidence. Slouched posture often means exhaustion or self-doubt. When someone leans toward you, they're engaged. When they lean away, they're withdrawing. Even the angle of the head tells a story. Tilted slightly means curiosity. Lowered often means submission or sadness. Lifted can mean pride or defiance. Arms and hands are emotional amplifiers. Open palms show honesty. Crossed arms mean defense. Hidden hands suggest nervousness. Restless fingers reveal anxiety. Gestures are emotional rhythms. When people believe in what they say, their hands move naturally. When they're uncertain, movement slows or stiffens. Pay attention to how people enter a room. Their first few seconds reveal their inner state. A confident person walks with steady pace, balanced steps, relaxed movement. A nervous person hesitates, scans the room, shifts weight too often. The body speaks even in stillness. Sometimes silence is the loudest gesture of all. Eye contact is one of the clearest emotional signals. It's where truth hides and fear lives. Direct but gentle eye contact shows connection. Too little means discomfort or guilt. Too much can signal control or aggression. Eyes dilate with excitement. They narrow with suspicion. they avoid with shame. Every glance is data. Every blink tells timing. Facial expressions are micro-languages. They flash faster than thought. A raised eyebrow, a twitch at the corner of the mouth, a half-smile that doesn't reach the eyes. All these reveal what's real, because the body betrays emotion faster than words can hide it. But reading body language isn't about judgment. It's about empathy. When you read someone's posture or expression, you're not labeling them. You're understanding them. You're seeing their emotion without forcing them to explain. Sometimes a coworker's silence isn't arrogance. It's fatigue. Sometimes their short answers aren't anger. It's anxiety. You'll understand this only if you look beyond behavior. True social intelligence means reading energy, not just motion, because the body doesn't only speak, it radiates feeling. A calm person changes the air around them. A tense person tightens the space. You can feel it, even if you can't explain it. That feeling is body language too. Notice how people breathe. Fast breathing often means stress. Slow, deep breathing means composure. When you talk to someone, mirror their rhythm subtly, match their pace without copying. It builds connection quietly. People feel understood when your body aligns with theirs. It's called rapport, and it happens without words. Body language is most powerful when combined with tone. A kind voice with relaxed posture builds trust. A harsh tone with stiff shoulders creates fear. Harmony between words, tone, and movement creates authenticity, and people trust authenticity instantly. But remember, context matters. Crossed arms may mean defense in one moment, or just comfort in another. A quiet posture could mean sadness, or simple focus. You can't read one signal alone. You must see the pattern. Social intelligence grows through observation over time. Patterns reveal truth, not single gestures. To master body language, slow down, notice more, react less. Watch the shift in people's energy when topics change. See who looks away, who leans in, who holds still. Their bodies are always telling you what matters most to them. At work, reading body language can prevent misunderstanding. It can reveal unspoken stress, hidden ideas, or silent disagreement. It can help you lead better, listen deeper, and connect faster. Because communication isn't what you say, it's what you show. Your own body language matters too. People read you just as you read them. Stand with openness. Keep your hands visible. Relax your shoulders. Look at people when you speak. Your body should tell the same story your words do. That's integrity made visible. When your energy, tone, and movement align, you become magnetic. People trust you faster. They follow you easier. Reading body language isn't about decoding others. It's about becoming aware of what connects us. When you master it, you'll begin to notice what most people ignore: truth in motion. And when you can see truth clearly, you can communicate with wisdom. That's the real power of reading people like a book. You stop guessing, and you start understanding. Chapter 4. The Hidden Language of the Face. The face is the window of emotion. It reveals everything the heart tries to hide. No matter how carefully words are chosen, the face whispers the truth first. Every blink, every twitch, every subtle smile is part of a silent conversation the body holds with the world. Faces don't just show feelings, they project them. They speak through micro-expressions, tiny flashes that last less than a second, but tell more truth than 1,000 words. Learning to read them is learning to see emotion itself. A face can show 7 core emotions: happiness, sadness, fear, anger, surprise, disgust, and contempt. Every human, in every culture, expresses them the same way. It's the oldest language on earth. When joy rises, the eyes narrow slightly. The cheeks lift. The mouth curves gently upward. The real smile lights from the eyes, not just the lips. When sadness visits, the eyelids droop. The corners of the mouth pull down. The face loses its natural lift. Even the skin tone changes, softer, heavier. Fear stretches the eyes. It freezes movement for a split second. The body prepares to react. The pupils widen, and the lips tighten to hold breath. Anger is sharper. The brows draw inward. The jaw tightens. The nostrils flare slightly, a primal signal that says, stay back. Surprise lifts everything. The eyebrows jump. The eyes open wide. The mouth parts slightly, a reflex to receive new information. Disgust wrinkles the nose. The upper lip rises as if rejecting a bad smell. It's the body saying, I can't accept this. Contempt, though, is quieter. One corner of the mouth rising in half disbelief, half superiority. It's the emotion of dismissal, and it often hides behind politeness. These expressions appear and vanish in fractions of a second. Most people never notice them, but those who do, the socially intelligent, can read emotion before a single word is spoken. Imagine sitting in a meeting. Someone smiles when the boss speaks, but their eyes remain cold. That's not agreement, it's compliance. Or think of a friend who says, I'm fine, yet their eyebrows lift in worry, and their lips tighten slightly. That's emotional conflict disguised as calm. This is the hidden language of the face. Truth beneath performance. To read it well, you must slow down. Observe without judgment. Let the expression tell its story. When you see a smile, look for the eyes. Are they alive, or just following social rules? When someone looks away while speaking, are they lying, or are they simply recalling? Context matters. Every expression lives inside a moment. A nervous smile in a job interview isn't dishonesty, it's pressure. A frown during deep thought isn't anger, it's focus. Social intelligence isn't guessing feelings, it's decoding behavior with empathy. The eyes are the most revealing part of the human face. They don't just look, they speak. A genuine connection creates softness in the eyes. A defensive state makes them narrow or dart away. When people feel safe, their gaze lingers. When they feel threatened, it breaks. The frequency of blinking changes with stress. Rapid blinking often means anxiety or deception. Still eyes, unblinking, may show control, or fear hidden behind control. Even how someone looks at you matters. Downward eyes may reflect submission or respect. Upward glances test boundaries. Side glances reveal doubt or suspicion. A socially aware person doesn't overinterpret one sign. They read combinations: eyes, mouth, posture, tone. Together they reveal the emotional truth. The mouth is another storyteller. It's where emotion escapes first. When someone forces a smile, you can see strain near the corners. When they suppress sadness, the lips press together tightly. When they feel fear, the mouth opens slightly, as if words are trapped behind breath. Lip biting often means anxiety. Trembling lips mean emotional overload. A clenched jaw hides suppressed anger. Even the way someone exhales after speaking tells how much they were holding in. The face records every feeling, micro-tensions that linger even after emotion fades. That's why exhaustion often looks like worry. The muscles remember stress long after it passes. In communication, your face is your message before your voice. Before you speak, people read your emotion and decide how to respond. If your expression doesn't match your words, your message collapses. The leader who says, I'm confident with a worried brow, won't inspire trust. A teacher who says, I care with a cold gaze, won't reach hearts. Authenticity aligns your face with your feeling. That's when connection becomes real. You don't have to exaggerate emotion. You just have to be present. When your words and your face tell the same story, people feel your sincerity. To strengthen your facial awareness, practice observing. Watch people in conversation. Mute a video and guess what emotion they're expressing. You'll be surprised how much you can understand without hearing a single word. Then turn the lens inward. Look at your own expressions in the mirror. Notice how your face changes when you feel calm, or tense, or excited. Self-awareness sharpens perception. The more you know your face, the more you can read others. Your empathy deepens. Your instincts sharpen. You begin to notice what most miss, the tiny flicker of emotion that tells the truth. When you understand the hidden language of the face, you stop reacting to words. You start responding to feelings. You see the discomfort behind fake smiles, the stress behind stillness, the care behind silence. You begin to communicate differently, more softly, more wisely, because reading faces isn't about control. It's about compassion. It's about understanding that every expression is a message from the heart. Some people hide behind words, some hide behind smiles, but the face always knows the truth. And once you learn to see it, you'll never hear people the same way again. That's the real mastery of social intelligence, to see what others feel before they have to explain. Chapter 5. The Power of Emotional Cues. Emotions speak before words do. They enter the room before you. They fill the silence after you leave. Every person you meet sends emotional cues, tiny signals that tell you how they feel, what they fear, and what they need. Social intelligence is the art of noticing them, because once you learn to read emotional cues, you can sense truth without confrontation. You can guide energy without control. You can connect without effort. Emotional cues are everywhere. They live in tone, in movement, in timing, in the small shifts that most people ignore. When someone pauses before replying, that pause means something. When their laughter sounds slightly delayed, that hesitation is emotion trying to hide. Every interaction is layered. The words are just the surface. The cues are the depth. A coworker might say, "I'm fine," but their voice drops half a note. That's a cue. A friend might smile, but their shoulders tighten. That's another cue. The truth hides in these subtleties, in how people say things, not just in what they say. The human brain is wired to pick up these signals. Our mirror neurons, the empathy centers of the mind, react instantly to emotion. When someone around you feels anxious, you feel it too. That's emotional transmission. You don't choose to feel it. You just do. It's how humans survive. We sense danger through emotion before logic. But awareness turns reaction into understanding. When you notice emotional cues consciously, you stop being controlled by them. You start using them. You can calm people just by staying calm. You can diffuse tension just by softening your tone. Because your emotion cues others' emotions. You are always teaching people how to feel in your presence. There are three main kinds of emotional cues: verbal, nonverbal, and energetic. Verbal cues are how people use words, not the words themselves, but their tone, speed, and rhythm. A soft tone says openness. A rushed tone says anxiety. A broken rhythm says hesitation. A long pause says reflection or restraint. When you tune your ear to these details, you start hearing emotion inside speech. Non-verbal cues come from the body: posture, gesture, facial expression. A person leaning forward is engaged. A person folding arms might be protective. A person avoiding gaze may be shy, or may not trust yet. Each cue connects to emotion, not as a judgment, but as an understanding. Energetic cues are harder to describe, but you feel them. It's the atmosphere someone brings into a room. You can sense warmth, tension, irritation, peace. It's in the way their presence changes space. That's not intuition. That's advanced emotional intelligence. When you understand emotional cues, you begin to predict reactions. In conversation, you'll know when someone is closing off. You'll sense when they're ready to open. You'll adjust naturally. That's what makes great communicators feel effortless. They're not guessing. They're reading emotion in real time. They see when someone is bored before words stop. They sense interest before questions start. And because they respond in harmony, people trust them deeply. It's not charm. It's emotional awareness. Think of a leader walking into a tense meeting. Everyone's posture is tight. No one speaks freely. A socially intelligent leader doesn't push through it. They name the tension gently. I can feel we're all a little on edge today. Let's breathe for a moment. That one sentence releases the pressure because it shows awareness. People relax when they feel seen. That's the power of emotional cues. They give you access to invisible truth. When you notice emotion, you validate experience. You don't have to fix it. Just recognizing it changes the room. At home, emotional cues build connection. You can sense when someone you love is hiding worry. Their face looks the same, but their eyes look longer than usual. Their voice softens without reason. If you respond with presence instead of advice, you create safety. That's emotional literacy. The ability to meet feeling with understanding, not reaction. When people feel emotionally seen, they open up. Walls come down. Trust builds. Every cue you notice is a doorway into empathy. But remember, emotional cues are layered with personality. Not everyone shows emotion the same way. Some people express openly. Others conceal quietly. Culture, background, and upbringing all influence expression. So, reading cues isn't about decoding everyone the same way. It's about learning how each person expresses emotion. You adapt to their rhythm. You respect their comfort. You learn their emotional vocabulary. That's how connection becomes authentic. When you give emotional cues intentionally, you become a better communicator. A gentle nod during someone's story says, "I'm with you." A calm expression during conflict says, "You're safe to speak." A slow, steady tone in disagreement says, "I want peace, not power." These small actions guide conversations more than logic ever can, because emotion always leads, and people follow emotional leadership before verbal leadership. Socially intelligent communicators use emotional cues like instruments. They tune the room. They balance energy. They create comfort through awareness. In tense moments, they lower their voice. In enthusiastic moments, they raise energy. They shift naturally, effortlessly. They know when to pause, when to smile, when to let silence speak. They don't chase control. They build connection. That's emotional fluency, the ability to feel others and still stay yourself. Sometimes silence itself is the most powerful emotional cue. When words end, energy speaks. The way you stay quiet tells if you care or not. Calm silence says peace. Cold silence says withdrawal. Learn to use silence kindly. Let it hold space, not create distance. The emotionally intelligent understand you don't need constant words to show presence. You just need awareness. When you master emotional cues, you start shaping moments consciously. You create harmony without control. You calm chaos without command. You lead with energy, not authority. People feel safe around you, not because you're perfect, but because you're emotionally consistent. And consistency builds trust faster than any speech ever could. The world is full of people speaking loudly, but very few listening emotionally. Be the one who listens deeper. See the unspoken. Sense the mood. Because emotional cues are the bridge between what people show and what they truly feel. When you read them right, you don't just understand others, you heal them. That's the unseen power of social intelligence. You don't force understanding, you become it. Chapter 6. How to influence without words. Influence isn't always spoken. It's felt. It's carried in presence, not in persuasion. You don't need to speak louder to be heard. You just need to be. Because real influence begins before a single word is said. Every room has an energy. Every person adds to it or takes from it. And the one who controls their own energy controls the room. That's how you influence without words. Your body, your tone, your stillness. They all speak for you. People don't just hear what you say, they feel what you radiate. If you walk in with calm confidence, people respond with respect. If you enter with scattered energy, they mirror your confusion. The human mind is wired to synchronize emotions. That's how empathy works. We unconsciously copy each other's mood. So if you want to influence others, you must first master yourself. The moment you steady your breath, your energy steadies too, and everyone around you feels it, even if they don't understand why. That's power in silence. Non-verbal influence starts with awareness. Your posture tells people how to treat you. A straight spine, open chest, relaxed shoulders. That's presence. It says you belong. It says you're sure. When you hold eye contact without aggression, you project authenticity. You're not trying to dominate. You're grounding connection. A small, real smile softens space. It lowers defenses. It opens trust. In every gesture, you're either creating comfort or creating distance. The socially intelligent know how to shape the air around them. They don't chase attention, they attract it. They don't force control, they invite it. Because influence without words isn't about pressure. It's about presence. Presence is invisible communication. It's the emotional temperature you bring. People feel it before they even know you. Some people light up rooms the moment they walk in, not because of status, but because their energy is aligned. They're grounded. Their tone is calm. Their movements are intentional. They carry peace, not noise. And that peace feels powerful. People lean toward energy that feels safe. That's human nature. If your presence makes others feel calmer, you'll never have to demand influence. You'll earn it effortlessly. Stillness is one of the rarest forms of influence. In a world addicted to noise, calm becomes magnetic. When you stay quiet during chaos, people look to you for direction. They sense leadership in your composure. The leader who speaks less, but radiates calm, is remembered longer than the one who shouts with confidence but trembles inside. Stillness isn't the absence of movement, it's the presence of control. It's the steady breath in a storm, the calm voice in a heated room, the patient gaze that listens before reacting. Stillness carries authority without ego. That's how you command a room, without commanding anyone. Your tone also influences without words, not volume, not perfection. Tone. A calm tone says control. A warm tone says safety. A steady tone says confidence. Tone is emotion in sound form. It transfers feeling directly to another person's nervous system. That's why an angry tone triggers fear, and a soft tone disarms conflict instantly. Socially intelligent people choose their tone the way artists choose color. Each emotion has a shade. Each message has a melody. When you speak slowly, with intention and quiet strength, people lean in. They don't just hear your words, they feel your balance. Influence without words also happens through consistency. When your energy, expression, and actions stay aligned, people start to trust you. Unconsciously, they know what to expect. They feel stability in your presence. That's leadership, not through speech, but through reliability. You don't have to explain yourself repeatedly. Your behavior explains you. Every action is a message. Every gesture is a signal. If your actions are calm, if your eyes are kind, if your energy is steady, your silence will speak for you louder than any argument ever could. The power of nonverbal influence lies in empathy. When you sense how someone feels and adjust naturally, you guide emotion instead of forcing it. You can ease tension just by softening your gaze. You can encourage honesty just by leaning forward. You can make someone feel respected by listening without interruption. These are silent forms of communication. They don't demand understanding, they create it. Because the body listens to what emotion feels safe around it. And empathy always creates safety. In influence, timing is everything. knowing when to pause, is more powerful than knowing what to say. The pause after someone speaks tells them you're listening. It gives their words weight. It gives your silence respect. Silence is the hidden half of communication. It shapes meaning. It builds tension. It delivers grace. Those who know how to use silence can influence any space they enter, because people trust those who don't rush. Speed feels desperate. Calm feels certain. Influence lives in that certainty. There's also energy in restraint. You don't have to react to everything. You don't have to prove you're right. The ability to remain composed when others lose control creates instant respect. You don't earn influence by dominating a conversation. You earn it by managing emotion. Yours first, theirs second. Control is not about suppression. It's awareness with discipline. It's emotion handled with wisdom. When you master restraint, your silence gains gravity. People listen more closely, even when you say little. Non-verbal influence also thrives in authenticity. Fake calm is transparent. Forced smiles collapse quickly. Pretended confidence cracks under pressure. But real calm, born from self-knowledge and peace, can move people without effort. You can't act authentic. You can only be it. And when you are, people sense it instantly. Your eyes soften. Your tone steadies. Your presence feels safe. Authenticity has frequency. It resonates like music. Everyone feels it. Few understand it. That's why it's powerful. To influence without words, you must first know what energy you carry. Do people feel relaxed when you arrive, or anxious? Do they feel heard, or hurried? You don't have to ask. Watch their response. If their shoulders drop when you walk in, you're calming them. If they tense up, your energy may still carry noise. Awareness lets you recalibrate. You don't need perfection. You need presence. When you walk into any room with calm, grounded energy, you shift the space. That's leadership before introduction. True influence doesn't come from dominance. It comes from centeredness. A river doesn't push to reach the ocean. It flows naturally, and everything around it follows the current. Your emotional steadiness is that current. Your silence is its rhythm. Your calm is its depth. The most powerful people in the world are often the quietest ones, not because they have nothing to say, but because they know their energy speaks louder than words ever could. So practice this every day. When you walk, walk with intention. When you breathe, breathe with calm. When you listen, listen fully. When you speak, speak softly. Be aware of what you project, because people are always reading you. And remember, your greatest influence will never come from your voice. It will come from your presence. Because presence has gravity. It pulls people in. It makes them feel safe. It makes them trust. That's how you change the mood of a room, the direction of a meeting, the feeling of a conversation, without saying a word. That's how you lead. That's how you connect. That's how you influence, silently, authentically, powerfully. Chapter 7. Building deeper connections through empathy. Empathy is not emotion. It's awareness in motion. It's the quiet ability to feel another person's truth without needing to fix it. It's the art of stepping into someone else's world and seeing through their eyes without losing sight of your own. In every conversation, in every connection, empathy is what turns interaction into understanding. Without empathy, you may talk, but you'll never truly connect. Every human being carries invisible weight. Dreams, fears, memories, regrets. Most people never show it. They smile on the outside, while storms rage quietly within. Empathy sees the storm. It doesn't judge it. It doesn't interrupt it. It simply says, I see you. That single sentence, spoken or felt, can heal more than advice ever could. Because at our core, we don't need constant solutions. We need understanding. Empathy begins with presence. You can't feel others if you're lost inside your own noise. When you listen, really listen, the world softens. You start hearing the tone behind words, the hesitation behind laughter, the emotion hiding inside silence. Empathy lives in attention. It's born in stillness. You don't need special words to show it. Sometimes just being there is enough. When you stop preparing your next sentence and start absorbing theirs, connection begins. That's empathy in practice. But empathy doesn't mean absorption. You don't have to carry someone's pain to understand it. You just need to acknowledge it. True empathy has boundaries. It feels deeply but stays steady. It connects but doesn't drown. When you're empathetic and balanced, you become a safe space for others. They can share their truth without feeling judged or pitied. Because empathy never says, "I know how you feel." It says, "I can feel that this matters to you." It's respect, not rescue. In workplaces, empathy transforms teams. It replaces pressure with understanding. It turns fear into trust. When a leader listens without defense, they invite honesty. When a coworker shows compassion instead of criticism, they build loyalty. A team built on empathy becomes human again. Mistakes are seen as lessons, not failures. Communication becomes smoother because everyone feels heard. Empathy doesn't weaken structure. It strengthens spirit. It makes people want to show up fully because they know they matter. That's the secret behind high-performing environments. Not perfection, but emotional safety. In relationships, empathy is the foundation of love. Without it, affection fades into misunderstanding. But with it, even silence feels close. Empathy hears what words cannot say. It feels distance before it turns into conflict. It senses sadness before it becomes withdrawal. When you respond with gentleness instead of pride, walls fall quietly. You don't have to win arguments. You just have to listen without ego. Empathy is not about being right. It's about being real. Empathy also deepens self-awareness. When you learn to feel others clearly, you start recognizing your own emotional patterns. You notice how often you react instead of respond. You realize how easy it is to project your own pain onto others. The empathetic mind pauses. It reflects. It asks not, "Why did they say this?" but "What are they feeling right now?" That one shift changes everything. You stop fighting people. You start understanding them. There's a difference between sympathy and empathy. Sympathy looks down from above. It says, "I feel sorry for you." Empathy kneels beside. It says, "I'm here with you." Sympathy comforts from distance. Empathy connects through closeness. Sympathy tries to fix. Empathy simply witnesses. One creates dependence. The other creates trust. That's why empathy builds deeper connections, because it gives people the freedom to be seen without being controlled. Empathy has language, but most of it is unspoken. It lives in small gestures, a nod, a softened gaze, a quiet pause that allows space for emotion to breathe. When someone feels you're truly present, they relax. Their guard drops, their honesty grows, and suddenly, a normal conversation becomes something sacred. Empathy turns dialogue into healing. It's not about agreeing. It's about accepting. You can disagree and still understand. You can correct without condemning. That's emotional maturity. Empathy requires courage, because feeling deeply means you might get hurt. But without that openness, you never experience real connection. You can't selectively numb pain and expect to feel joy. They exist in the same space. Empathy allows both. It teaches you to hold discomfort without running from it. And in that holding, you grow stronger. You become emotionally grounded. Empathy doesn't make you fragile. It makes you human, fully, fiercely, beautifully human. Empathy also heals conflict faster than logic. When tension rises, facts often fail. People stop hearing information and start reacting to tone. But when empathy enters the conversation, everything changes. You look someone in the eye and say softly, "I can see this really hurt you." That one sentence breaks anger into understanding, because empathy acknowledges pain without blaming anyone. It replaces resistance with reflection, and from that reflection, resolution grows naturally. To build deeper connections through empathy, practice small awareness every day. When you greet someone, look at their face. Do they look tired, rushed, anxious? When you listen for emotion, not just words. When you respond, mirror calm instead of judgment. When you speak, choose tone over speed. Every small act of empathy becomes a seed of connection, and over time, those seeds grow into trust, respect, and peace. Empathy is the bridge between hearts. It's what allows you to understand pain without experiencing it, and share joy without jealousy. It connects strangers. It deepens friendships. It transforms communication into care. You don't need to be a therapist to use empathy. You just need to be present, to feel when someone's breaking, and hold space instead of filling it. That's the rarest gift. Attention without agenda. Empathy doesn't need noise. It just needs presence. When you give that, you touch something eternal in others. So walk through life slower. Notice faces. Listen to pauses. Sense emotion. Be curious, not critical. Be open, not defensive. Be kind, not correct. Because every person you meet is carrying something unseen. And your empathy might be the only moment of peace they feel all day. That's how you build deeper connections. Not through words, through warmth, through awareness, through quiet understanding. Empathy is not what you do, it's what you become. And when you become it, the world responds, not with applause, but with trust. Because people never forget how you made them feel. Chapter 8. The Psychology of First Impressions. It takes less than 7 seconds. That's all the time your brain needs to decide whether it trusts someone or not. Before you speak, before you even smile, your body, face, and energy have already spoken for you. That's the psychology of first impressions, a silent negotiation between perception and presence. You don't control it with words. You control it with awareness. The human brain is designed to judge quickly. It's a survival mechanism. Thousands of years ago, it kept our ancestors alive. Friend or threat, safe or dangerous, approach or avoid. These questions still play in the background of every human encounter. Only now they're dressed in suits, handshakes, and small talk. Your mind doesn't see titles or credentials first. It sees emotion. It reads posture. It senses tone. That's why the energy you bring into a room is remembered longer than the words you say. First impressions are emotional imprints. They form in the limbic brain, the part that feels before it thinks. The moment you meet someone, their brain scans for 2 things: warmth and competence. Warmth asks, "Can I trust you?" Competence asks, "Can I respect you?" If you show warmth without confidence, people like you but don't follow you. If you show confidence without warmth, they respect you but don't trust you. True influence comes from the balance of both. Think of the first time you met someone who made you feel safe instantly. It wasn't their words, it was their energy. The way they looked at you, the way they listened, the way their presence felt open and unhurried. That's the language of trust. That's the foundation of first impressions. Your eyes, tone, and posture communicate your intention before you even start talking. A relaxed smile says approach. A tense jaw says defense. A slow nod says understanding. A rigid posture says fear of judgment. The brain catches these cues instantly. It doesn't analyze, it feels. That's why first impressions are emotional before they're logical. People don't remember what you wore. They remember how you made them feel. If you made them feel seen, they'll feel drawn to you. If you made them feel invisible, they'll avoid you silently. It's not manipulation. It's emotional presence. When you enter a room, your body becomes your first sentence. Your energy becomes your introduction. That's the psychology of connection. How emotion speaks faster than words ever could. Confidence is one of the strongest factors in first impressions. But real confidence is quiet. It doesn't demand attention, it attracts it. It lives in stillness, in relaxed movement, in calm tone. People sense stability from the way you breathe, from how you hold space for others. Confidence says, I know who I am. Ego says, I need you to know who I am. The difference defines whether your first impression feels magnetic or overbearing. Eye contact is another powerful connector. It creates a bridge between minds before conversation even begins. But too much gaze feels invasive. Too little feels insecure. The key is balance. Look with warmth, not with pressure. When your eyes carry curiosity instead of judgment, people feel safe. That safety builds trust instantly. Body language completes the first impression. The way you stand, the pace of your movement, the openness of your gestures, all reveal your emotional state. A person who walks upright but relaxed signals balance. A person who rushes signals nervousness. A person who fidgets signals uncertainty. Your body tells stories your mouth never could. And once the mind forms that first emotional conclusion, it takes effort to rewrite it. That's why self-awareness matters so deeply. First impressions are hard to change because of a psychological bias called confirmation bias. Once the brain labels someone trustworthy, cold, confident, arrogant, it looks for proof to confirm that label. That's why the first moment matters so much. People don't see you as you are. They see you as they felt you were. And until emotion changes, perception won't either. So if you want to create better impressions, start by managing what people feel in your presence. Not through fake smiles or perfect words, but through emotional regulation. If your inner world is calm, your outer world radiates confidence. Presence can't be faked. You can dress it, you can perform it, but people feel authenticity instantly. They sense sincerity the way animals sense danger, instinctively. That's why the most magnetic people aren't the loudest or the most polished. They're the most real. They stand without pretense. They listen fully. They express emotion naturally. Their energy says, I'm not here to impress you, I'm here to connect. That's the psychology of authentic attraction. But here's the deeper truth. First impressions aren't only about how others see you. They're also about how you see them. When you meet someone, your perception shapes your behavior, and your behavior shapes their response. If you assume someone is kind, you'll treat them warmly. They'll feel it, and often they'll respond in kind. If you expect hostility, your body will tighten. Your tone will shift. They'll feel tension and unconsciously mirror it. That's how impressions become self-fulfilling. You don't just experience first impressions, you create them. To master this psychology, learn to enter every space with neutrality. Don't assume. Observe. See without labeling. Listen without defending. Feel without reacting. When you approach people this way, your body relaxes. Your tone steadies. Your energy opens. And that openness invites connection instantly. You no longer look like you're trying to be accepted. You simply look comfortable being yourself. That's irresistible. Clothing, grooming, and composure also contribute to first impressions, not through vanity, but through psychology. Cleanliness signals discipline. Attention to detail signals self-respect. Simplicity signals calm confidence. People read these cues faster than they realize. It's not about looking rich or stylish. It's about looking aligned. When your appearance, tone, and behavior match your message, your presence feels trustworthy. That's coherence, the emotional symmetry people subconsciously crave. In professional life, first impressions can open or close doors instantly. You don't always get second chances. That's why emotional readiness matters more than verbal preparation. Before every meeting, ground yourself. Take a breath. Release nervous energy. Feel centered. When your emotions are settled, your communication flows naturally. You don't have to prove yourself. You just express yourself clearly. People trust clarity. They follow composure. That's influence born from awareness. Every impression leaves residue. Your tone, your timing, your smile, your silence. It all lingers in memory, long after the words fade. So make your first moments count, not by performing, but by being conscious. Walk into every room as someone who listens before speaking, see before judging, understand before advising. That's how you create the kind of presence that people don't forget. Because the truth is, you never get to make a second first impression. So make the first one honest. Make it calm. Make it grounded. Make it you. When you do, you'll notice something powerful. People start trusting you faster. They open up quicker. They listen longer. Because trust doesn't come from what you say. It comes from how you feel when you say nothing at all. That's the quiet psychology of connection. That's the art of first impressions. Chapter 9. The silent signals of trust and deception. Trust is fragile. It takes years to build, seconds to break, and a lifetime to repair. Every human connection rests on it. And every betrayal begins where trust was once placed. But before words confirm truth or expose lies, the body already knows. Trust and deception both leave traces, small, quiet signals that reveal the real story. You just have to know how to read them. Trust is emotional safety. When it's present, the body relaxes. When it's broken, the body defends. You can see it. You can feel it. People who trust you make eye contact easily. Their shoulders drop. Their tone softens. Their breathing slows. They don't guard their words. They speak freely. Their gestures flow naturally, matching their rhythm of thought. There's harmony between their tone, body, and message. That's how truth feels, effortless. Deception, however, creates dissonance. The words and the energy don't align. A person may say, "I'm fine," but their eyes dart. Their smile freezes. Their tone falters. It's not the lie itself that's visible. It's the discomfort of maintaining it. The body protests dishonesty. It leaks truth in small, involuntary ways. When people lie, their nervous system activates. The heartbeat quickens. The throat tightens. Breathing becomes shallow. Because lying demands effort, mental, emotional, and physical. Truth flows. Lies constrict. That's why the micro-behaviors change. A sudden swallow. A subtle pause. A forced blink. A quick shift of posture. The body seeks relief from tension it didn't create. If you watch closely, you'll see truth flash in between moments of control. A genuine smile fades slowly. A fake one disappears instantly. A truthful person gestures freely while talking. A deceptive one controls movement too tightly. It's the difference between flow and restraint. But here's the paradox. A liar doesn't always look nervous. Sometimes they look calm, because they've practiced. That's why reading deception isn't about spotting a single sign. It's about noticing inconsistency. Do the words match the tone? Does the face match the emotion? Does the story match the energy? When one of these feels off, trust your intuition. The subconscious detects deceit faster than logic. You might not know why something feels wrong, but your body always senses misalignment. That's instinct, an ancient intelligence built to protect you. Trust, on the other hand, feels simple. It doesn't need performance. It feels quiet and easy. When someone speaks truthfully, their body is synchronized with their words. Their gestures align with tone. Their energy matches intention. You feel peace around them. Trust is not loud. It's steady. And that steadiness becomes visible through emotional congruence. The alignment between what someone says, feels, and shows. That alignment is the heart of authenticity. Authenticity creates safety. Safety builds trust. When people feel safe around you, they open up. Their tone relaxes. Their posture unfolds. That's how you know trust is forming. The body lets down its armor. In contrast, when people feel deceived or unsafe, the armor returns instantly. Crossed arms, tight lips, avoided gaze, short answers, a drop in energy. These aren't random gestures. They're emotional shields. People use them unconsciously when they sense dishonesty, even slightly. That's why once trust is shaken, words alone can't fix it. Only consistency can. You can also detect trust and deceit through voice. A voice that carries honesty feels steady. It flows with rhythm. It matches emotional tone. A deceptive voice fluctuates unnaturally. Pitch changes, pace quickens, emphasis lands on strange syllables. It's as if the mouth is trying to outrun the mind. The body can't multitask authenticity. When it focuses on lying, something else slips. A glance, a tremor, a mismatch of tone. That's where truth hides, in the cracks between control. But here's the danger. Sometimes we mistake nervousness for deceit. Not everyone who looks uncomfortable is lying. Some people simply fear being misunderstood. Some carry trauma. Some have been judged too often to stay relaxed. That's why empathy is essential in reading people. You can't detect truth with suspicion. You detect it with presence. When your energy is open, others reveal more naturally. They mirror your calm. If you approach with accusation, even honest people will tense up. And then, truth hides behind fear. So before you read others, settle your own emotions first. A clear mind sees more accurately. Trust and deception are emotional exchanges. You send signals. You receive them. And the cycle continues. When your intention is genuine, your energy radiates transparency. People feel it instantly. They don't analyze your honesty. They sense it. That's why honesty isn't something you say. It's something you are. The way you pause before responding. The way you look someone in the eye without defense. The way you admit uncertainty instead of pretending perfection. These are the silent signatures of integrity. In social intelligence, the goal isn't to become a human lie detector. It's to become emotionally fluent, to understand what truth feels like and what fear feels like. Truth feels relaxed. Fear feels rushed. Truth sounds smooth. Deceit sounds over-explained. Truth breathes easily. Deceit breathes carefully. The difference lies not in logic, but in vibration. And the more attuned you become, the more you'll sense those vibrations without effort. To build trust yourself, emotionally congruent. Mean what you say, do what you promise. Keep your words simple. Speak less, but with full sincerity. When people realize your words and actions align, they stop watching you. They start believing you, because consistency builds credibility. And credibility is the foundation of all influence. To detect deception, look for repetition in patterns, not moments. If someone constantly avoids eye contact, changes stories, or exaggerates unnecessarily, there's an emotional reason. Ask questions gently, not to catch, but to clarify. Deception thrives in pressure. Truth breathes in patience. So be patient. The truth always reveals itself when the environment feels safe enough. Remember, even the most honest people hide things sometimes. Not because they want to deceive, but because they want to protect. They hide pain, vulnerability, or insecurity. So read softly, judge slowly, because understanding people isn't about exposing lies. It's about seeing why they hide. Empathy uncovers truth, where interrogation never could. The silent signals of trust and deception aren't about perfection. They're about awareness. Awareness of energy, awareness of emotion, awareness of alignment. When you can sense honesty without evidence and falsehood without accusation, you've reached emotional fluency. You can guide conversations gently, You can detect tension early. You can create safety in a world built on defense. That's social intelligence in its purest form. Because reading people isn't about power. It's about peace. The more you understand human truth, the less you need control. You simply see, you simply know, you simply understand. And from that understanding, trust becomes your language, and honesty becomes your presence. Chapter 10. Mastering the Art of Human Connection. Connection is the essence of being human. It's what keeps us alive, what makes our stories meaningful, what turns existence into experience. You can have intelligence, you can have success, but without connection, you remain unseen. To master communication, you must master connection. Because every word, every look, every pause, it all leads to one question. Do you feel me? When the answer is yes, you've built something powerful. Not just contact, but connection. Connection isn't built through perfection. It's built through presence. It's not about knowing what to say. It's about caring enough to listen. It's not about appearing strong. It's about being real enough to be human. The art of human connection begins when you stop trying to impress and start trying to understand. Because people don't remember your knowledge. They remember your warmth. They remember how you made them feel safe enough to be themselves. Connection is a mirror. When you meet someone, they reflect your energy back to you. If you're open, they open. If you're guarded, they retreat. Human interaction is emotional rhythm, a silent duet between two hearts. Socially intelligent people understand that rhythm. They know when to speak and when to stay silent. They feel when someone needs advice and when someone simply needs space. Connection isn't control, it's harmony. Presence is your greatest tool in connection. When you are fully here, people can feel it. They relax. Their tone changes. Their body softens. Because your attention tells them, you matter. You can't fake presence. You either give it or you don't. If your mind is divided, your energy fragments. But when your awareness is steady, your presence becomes magnetic. That's why truly listening is one of the rarest acts of love. To master human connection, you must learn emotional tuning. Every person vibrates on a certain frequency. Joy, fear, excitement, exhaustion. When you tune yourself to their frequency without losing your own, you create resonance. That's empathy in motion. That's real connection. But tuning doesn't mean changing who you are. It means becoming flexible enough to meet others where they are. It's not imitation, it's alignment. Connection thrives on vulnerability. Walls protect, but they also isolate. The moment you allow yourself to be seen, your fears, your flaws, your truth, others feel permission to do the same. Vulnerability isn't weakness, it's honesty with courage. It's saying, I'm not perfect, but I'm present. And that presence creates instant emotional intimacy. Because authenticity speaks louder than confidence ever could. In relationships, connection is built through small, consistent moments. It's in remembering someone's tone when they say, I'm okay. It's in checking in, not because you have to, but because you care. It's in silent companionship, sitting beside someone without the need to fill space. Connection isn't always talking. Sometimes it's just sharing air, sharing time, sharing calm. These are the moments that make life feel whole. At work, connection builds culture. When teams feel emotionally connected, they communicate better, create more openly, and recover faster from conflict. A connected team doesn't compete to be heard. They listen to understand. The leader sets the tone. When a leader leads with humanity, others follow with heart. You don't have to be everyone's friend. You just have to make people feel valued. Because in the absence of connection, fear grows. And where fear grows, truth hides. Connection also depends on emotional honesty. You can't connect through masks. Pretending to be okay disconnects you from others and yourself. Real communication happens when you let the truth breathe. When you can say, "I'm struggling today," and someone replies, "It's okay, I've got you." That's human connection, the invisible thread that reminds us we're not alone in the noise. But connection requires boundaries too. Empathy without boundaries becomes exhaustion. Love without limits becomes dependency. True connection respects space. It allows individuality to exist inside unity. You can care deeply and still protect your peace. You can love others without losing yourself. That balance is mastery, the ability to stay open without being consumed. Connection also lives in silence. In moments where words would only complicate truth, silence speaks. A shared glance, a nod of understanding, a sigh that means "I get it." Connection is not built by language. It's built by emotion. Words only carry it. When your energy aligns with empathy, you don't need explanations. People just feel you. And that feeling is what they remember forever. To connect deeply, see the human before the role. Not the boss, not the stranger, not the customer. See the person, the story, the tired eyes, the hope still shining behind them. When you look at people like that, judgment fades. Compassion rises, because connection begins where labels end. The art of human connection is the art of giving emotion safely. You don't force trust, you earn it. You don't demand closeness, you nurture it. Connection is slow. It's built through truth, not tricks, through patience, not performance. The more present you are, the deeper it grows, and the more you give presence, the more it returns. That's the quiet law of emotional gravity. You attract what you radiate. Connection isn't always about joy. Sometimes it's about shared pain. When someone opens their heart, don't rush to close it with advice. Just hold it with understanding. Sometimes the deepest healing comes from simply being witnessed, because when you feel truly seen, you remember your worth again. That's why connection is sacred. It's not small talk. It's soul talk. The art of human connection is ultimately the art of awareness. Awareness of yourself, awareness of others, awareness of the invisible space between. That space, where emotions meet without words, is where humanity lives. And when you can live there comfortably, you'll never feel disconnected again. Because connection isn't something you find, it's something you cultivate. It grows in kindness. It blooms in attention. It survives in truth. To master the art of human connection, be real, be calm, be kind. Listen with your heart open, but your ego quiet. Speak with honesty, but not with superiority. Feel with depth, but don't drown. Give presence, and you'll never need persuasion. Because in a world full of noise, connection is silence understood. That's where love lives. That's where understanding begins. That's where humanity feels whole again. And that is the true art of reading people like a book.